Yellowjackets season 3 episode 8. Man, as much shit as I've given this show and many people have had their complaints, I can't help but just be so entertained every fucking episode by this whole entire cast. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna go in order because that ending was insane. We definitely gonna have to talk about that. But make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, PertMinded420. Let's get into it. The episode opens up with younger Shauna, in a supermarket, and she sees Jackie once again, and she sees all these body parts, and ends up being a whole kind of daydream. Shauna wakes up, and she breaks into Hannah's daughter's house, and lo and behold, we get introduced to Melissa, and finally we see Hilary Swank. And this whole back and forth is the most interesting stuff in the adult storyline, and we're going to definitely talk about that. On the other side of things, we see that Van is not in good shape. They're talking about moving her to hospice because they can't do nothing for her, and this puts Taissa in a panic. Meanwhile, back at the wilderness, we see Misty going through what is a very terrifying scenario for anybody that wears glasses like myself. The worst fear for glasses users are losing your glasses, losing your vision, and she finally is able to find her glasses. On the other side of things, you got Travis wanting to get the fuck up out of here and just kind of leave everybody behind. Akila's like, no, we can't do that to them. And he's like, no, we can do that. We can get the fuck up out of here because Cody knows the way. While that's going on, and Misty is kind of following Akila and whatnot, back at the spot where all the Yellowjackets are, they're pressing Hannah about how to get home, what's it like outside the wilderness. Some people ask some stupid ass questions, but they also kind of realize how long they've been out here, how much time has gone by. People haven't been kind of looking for them at all. They've kind of forgotten about them, and that's really interesting. Misty returns to tell everybody, I know where Cody and Travis and all of them are. Just follow me. Meanwhile, Jeff and Callie kind of go out to kind of get away from the hotel because Jeff definitely needs it. He's kind of losing his mind. He sees the Joels there, the two assholes we saw a few episodes back. Shauna kind of gave them a piece of her mind, and he still is trying to lock down that deal. And then he gets interrupted by Misty. Misty tries to ask Jeff, yo, where was Shauna at this point? And you could just tell that Jeff is kind of fed up with all this. But interesting, going back to Melissa and Shauna, Melissa lets it be known, I really never gave a fuck about you. I was really terrified and scared of you. We get a lot of interesting revelations here with Melissa's character. She goes by a completely different name, Callie, and she married Hannah's daughter, which is really fucking weird. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of you had something to do with her mother's death, and once that gets revealed, that's going to be kind of an interesting reveal whenever that happens. Back in the wilderness, Javi ends up kind of getting betrayed in a sense by Akila because she was kind of making sure people knew where to find them, and all the Yellowjackets are able to get Cody back into back to their spot. And this is where they kind of start to have a lot of infighting, where a lot of the Yellowjackets want to be rescued and want to get the fuck out of here. But Misty makes it known, yo, if we get rescued, what are we going to do with them? We're going to have to kill them. And Lottie on the other hand, she doesn't want to leave because she believes that something is wrong. If we leave, nothing will be right. And I really like this conversation between Melissa and Shauna as it continues throughout the episode. And you really see that Melissa, faked her death. She wants to just have this normal life. And this bothers Shauna because she seems like all this paranoia is Melissa's fault. She wants to just put the blame on everybody but herself. And it really goes to show you throughout this whole entire episode the levels of paranoia. And that's kind of the theme. Because you even have Taissa over here ready to just kill this old man with a fucking pillow over Van. She thinks that that's going to be the solution. And you see her mind is all fucked up as well. Meanwhile, back at the wilderness, you see Cody and Hannah burying Ed. And this is where everybody starts to kind of hallucinate. Mari starts to get a Slurpee. Misty, it gets to actually use an actual toilet with actual toilet paper. Van imagines seeing this just being on a really comfortable mattress. And then Taissa kind of breaks that immersion where she's kind of concerned, similar to Lottie, about leaving here and saying that this place is going to follow us. And we see old boy with the no eyes attach himself to Taissa. So is the evil tie really just this guy? Because I think two things could be very true, where a lot of this is in their mind, but there's also a supernatural element to it. So it could be both things happening at the same time. Let me know how you guys feel about that. So then Shauna and Melissa have this interesting conversation where Melissa's just ready to kind of get out of here. She feels some type of way about Shauna leaving her behind, not really giving a fuck about her getting shot with the arrow. And this is where Shauna tries to just manipulate the situation and make up some bullshit to kind of make her be on her side. Conversation between adults, Melissa and Shauna, continue as Melissa keeps, breaking down Shauna and her issues, and she's pretty much tells her everything she knows about herself and how she's just living this whole lie. Callie's calling because Jeff's out here crashing out, and Jeff says the funniest shit of the series where he calls Misty a freaky four-eyed mushroom. That shit was fucking hilarious. But Jeff is trying to just make sense of everything, and Callie's trying to make sense of everything as well. So back in the wilderness, everybody's just very happy to leave, but Akilah starts to have another kind of vision of all these animals dying, the crops dying, and Lottie kind of helps her snap out of it. Meanwhile, you have Nat going back to the plane to kind of say her final goodbyes to Coach and whatnot, and telling whatever entity that's in the wilderness that we're going to leave, there's nothing you could do about it. But then, as they're getting ready to leave, they got the guns on Cody and Hannah. Of course, there's going to be some divisions. Some people don't want to leave. Shauna doesn't want to leave. Lottie doesn't want to leave. And now Taissa doesn't want to leave. And Shauna puts her foot down, saying nobody's going to leave. And that's the last we see of the wilderness storyline. And how this episode ended was fucking dope. We have Jeff, standing up for his wife once again, leaving the hotel. But let's get to the real shit right here, where now we have Shauna and Melissa ended up getting into a back and forth fight. Shauna takes a chunk of skin off of Melissa and forces her to eat it, or else she's going to tell her family who she truly is. And man, what an episode. Let me know how you guys feel about it. How do y'all feel about Shauna just going complete savage on Melissa? How do y'all feel about the whole Ty and Van situation? Do you think Van is going to make it out this season? How do y'all feel about Jeff and the whole Callie situation? Do you think that they're going to end up flipping? Let me know. Even the wilderness stuff and how that's going to go about. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.